Yes, Geordies, welcome back to another episode. The first thing as always, I hope everyone's well. In this video, we're going to be talking about Sven Botman's recontract, two players Newcastle United have been linked with, and then we're going to look at two left backs we should be targeting in January. But as always, guys, the first thing I want to say, I hope everyone's well. And look, yes, the scenery is changed. Do you think it's better? Let me know in the comments, because I can't lie, the past couple of videos, when I put these boards up, looked like I was in prison. I felt like Akon, locked up, won't let me out. That is exactly how I felt, but this is what I had to work with. It's story time with a mango. So listen carefully and listen once. I moved house about 3 months ago. Me and my last split up, and I thought, I'm moving house because I was paying for this bigger house that I just didn't really need. And I thought, I want to get a house that's a little bit run down so I could work on it, make a profit on it in a couple of years' time. So they said it was a 3-bedroom house, right? I've got my bedroom. I've got a spare room because I've got a little niece that likes to come over and stay there. So I didn't want this desk in the spare room while she was here. So I used this little room as my room, right? Now, this is what I was doing. And I'm such an idiot because I can literally touch this wall and this wall at the same time. So when my desk was that way, I had no room. That's why the camera was dead close. I was dead close to the back and it looked like I was in prison. But I didn't want to move it because you see these things here. You can't move them. They're above the stairs. So the stairs are directly under here. So this is the smallest room in the world, known to man. And the class is a bedroom. You can't even fit a bed in here. But that's what I had to work with. Now, I know it's not perfect, but I do honestly believe it's a little bit better. And yes, I am a little gamer at heart. There's me PS5, there's me Xbox, and there's a Nintendo somewhere behind it. So I am a secret little gamer. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Do you like it? Do you prefer it? Do you not? Anyways, that light is about to go out because it's got no battery. So during this video, I've got no doubt that light will turn off. Anyways, let's get on with the video. You don't want to hear about me speaking and just blabbering on because that's boring. I want to talk about Sven Botman because Newcastle open talks and extension offer with Sven Botman's representatives. After tying down Sandro Tonali to a new secret contract, Newcastle United, Ross Wilson turned their attention to Sven Botman. Sven Botman's contract currently runs out in 2027, and I'd been saying in videos, now is the time to tie him down, especially with the links to Liverpool. And who wouldn't want Sven Botman? Okay, he's had his injuries. I understand that, but not many players would come back from one knee injury, never mind two. Let's be brutally honest. Sven Botman, every single time he stepped on a football pitch in black and white, has been excellent. Despite those career-threatening injuries, this news of opening new contracts is music to my ears, I can't lie. And I'm not just saying this because I do actually know Sven Botman's agent, but I don't know Sven Botman himself. I've spoken to him a few times, said hello, how are you, that kind of stuff, but it's not like I'm pally with Sven Botman. I did text Sven Botman's agent this morning. I sent him the link and he texted back with 2 eyes. So I'm guessing it's true. I'm sure he won't mind me saying this on YouTube. In fact, he actually gives us a lot of stick for having a YouTube video. I know he does it out of love, but he's always like, oh, you're making another YouTube video. But anyways, signing Sven Botman to a new deal is massive. It's exactly what we should be doing, protecting our assets. Even if he does want to leave in the future now, it's just going to allow you to get maximum profit on the player. But personally, I don't want him to leave. I think as we've noticed, since he's come on the side with Malik Chow right next to him, building a brilliant partnership. I honestly believe Malik Chow has stepped into Newcastle United so comfortably because he's got somebody like Sven Botman beside him. Don't forget, Milan actually wanted to sign Sven Botman. So they wanted Sven Botman and Malik Chow to be their defensive partnership. Who've got him now? Newcastle United. That's how we roll, guys. That is how we roll. But let's get serious for a minute because it goes on to say that the contract will be until 2030. Sven Botman's 25 at the minute. He's just coming into his peak. You want these kinds of players in their peak years because he's the type of player that will help you get into Champions League football. There's been rumours circulating that Liverpool are interested, and you can absolutely see why. Composed, reads the game well. He's strong. He's good in the air. He's good in possession. He's just a well-rounded, excellent defender. And I always think when you've got a successful team, you need a good spine in the team. You need a spine that is coming in their peak years, where they're not potential anymore. And I think having those players that are coming in their peak years has been one of the main source of our success. Bruno, Joe Linton, Sandro Tonali, even Alexander Isak, Fabian Shaw, Dan Burn. When we signed them, they were in their peak years. I honestly believe this can only be a good thing, especially with Malik Chow. We can have those two centre-back partnerships for years to come, and then you bring in understudies to grow under them, and I think that would be a beautiful thing. And we've actually been linked to a centre-back that we are going to talk about very shortly. The reason why I like Sven Botman and Malik Chow together, because the profiles complement each other. You'll often hear me speaking about profiles and partnerships create a successful team. Sven Botman's attributes and characteristics bring out the best in Malik Chow. Malik Chow's attributes and characteristics bring out the best in Sven Botman. What Sven Botman does hides Malik Chow's weaknesses. What Malik Chow does hides Sven Botman's weaknesses. Not all the time, but more likely than not. And that's why profiles and partnerships create a successful team. And I couldn't think of anything I would want more, due to the fact that they're likable guys, they get on with the job, they don't bring up a fuss, because the way they both just stepped into the Premier League so comfortably just shows their natural ability. But I want to know your thoughts. Would you be happy with Sven Botman and Malik Chow as our two main centre-backs moving on in the future? Because Fabian Shaw, he's not getting any younger. Dan Burn, not getting any younger. Unfortunately, no matter how good they have been, time does catch up with you eventually. So it's good that we did bring in Malik Chow this window and not in future windows, because we need them now. But speaking about players that we need, we've also been linked to another striker, a striker for January. Even though we've just bought Johan Wissa, who probably more than likely will go off to AFCON, and Nick Valdemada, but apparently we have been offered £87 million release clause striker Samu. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I really, really like Samu, and I think I'm going to squash this rumour already, because I can't see us spending £87 million on a striker in January. Maybe next summer, potentially, if things don't work out with Johan Wissa, but I just can't see us signing Samu this January, especially that we've just spent £55 million on Johan Wissa, and what was it, like £69 million on Nick Valdemada? I think there's areas in the squad that we should be strengthening before we're bringing a striker, but I want to hear your thoughts. Would you be, I'm not even going to lie, I would be happy with Samu. I would love to sign somebody like Samu, somebody that just has that poacher's instincts, has that physicality inside the box, who's aggressive when he's attacking balls. I think Nick Valdemada is a little bit different to that. So again, we could have two different profiles of strikers. Now, I'm not going to go into deep on Samu, because I've made 2 videos on him already, and I don't want to bore you and sound like I'm just repeating myself. So any videos on Samu that I've got, I will link at the end. But undoubtedly, Samu will play at a top club very soon. So yeah, being brutally honest, I would love Samu. I just can't see it happening. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Newcastle United go and splash the cash and we've got 3 perfect strikers that we can play, but I just can't see it, unfortunately. But let me know your thoughts. Would you like to sign somebody like Samu? If not, anybody else, let me know in the comments. But I actually believe that maybe a defender is our main target for January, especially a left back, and that's why we're going to talk about 2 today. But we've also been linked to another defender that in fact used to play for Milan. Now he plays for their biggest rivals, Juventus, and that is Pierre Kalulu. And we all know Newcastle United are no strangers to dealing with Italian clubs. Both Sandro Tonali from Milan, both Malik Chow from Milan, sold Lloyd Kelly to Juventus. So we actually have a good relationship with Italian clubs. Now, somebody like Kalulu is exactly what Eddie Howe is probably looking for, if I'm being honest. Somebody that is comfortable in the back 3, a back 4, somebody that is comfortable playing right back and centre-back, and he's also occasionally played at left-back. So let's break down what I like about him, looking at his strengths, weaknesses, and looking at a few statistics. So he's currently at Juventus, so he's played in top 5 league, he's played in the Champions League, he's played in Europe, and he's 25, so he's close to his peak years. As I've just mentioned, he can play at centre-back, right-back, and occasionally at left-back. Now, that adaptability is a big asset to what Eddie Howe was looking for. If we can get somebody that can play anywhere along the back 4, it's a massive, valuable asset, because we're struggling now that we don't have a cover for Lewis Hall, especially when Lewis Hall and Tino are both injured at the same time. So who is he and what would he bring? Style of play. He's a ball-playing asset. He's quick, agile, and composed in possession. Now, these are some things that I really do like about him. Ball progression. He's highly possession-orientated. He ranks in the top centre for passing accuracy, ball retention skills, making him a reliable outlet under pressure. He's also extremely press resistant. Now, he's somebody that isn't really a bulldozing defender. He's somebody that is so clean in possession. He's comfortable in possession. He's comfortable inverting into midfield. He's comfortable going on the outside, which is very rare for a centre-back. His comfortability in possession stands out. He's one of the main ball progressors at Juventus. He's averaging the most touches per 90 in the Juventus team this season. He's also averaging the most minutes played. And I often say availability is the best ability. But the reason why he's averaging more minutes played than anybody else is for that versatility. And that is why he's become one of the first players on the team sheet. And I just get the feeling that Eddie Howe likes these players that can be positionally adaptable. Now, he's super comfortable driving forward with the ball at his feet. Somebody that will step into the midfield positions with the ball at his feet. In fact, Malik Chow also does that. Malik Chow is averaging the most ball carries frequency per 90 this season in the Premier League. Now, Kalulu is averaging the most carries and covering the most distance with the ball at his feet in the Juventus squad this season. Now, when it comes to passing, he likes to keep things short and tidy. He's super clean in possession for a centre-back, but he's not yet an elite long line breaker. That was a tongue twister. But do you know what else is insane? When he's playing at right back, he's an attacking minded right back. Do you know how Dan Burns, predominantly a centre back, when he plays at left back, you can see the difference. They don't have that dynamism. But when Kalulu plays at right back, and I actually personally probably prefer him at right back, he's an attack-minded right back, and the statistics show that. He's averaging the second most shot-creating actions in the Juventus squad this season. That is insane for predominantly a centre-back. I've just mentioned he's an attack-minded right back, but he does it in style as well. He's somebody that will hog the touchline, drift wide, rather than come in centrally, and that's why he's averaging the fourth most crosses in the Juventus team this season. He's actually delivered 21 crosses in just 8 games. And again, that's very unusual for a centre-back. So what I'm pointing out here is he's so technically very good in possession, but he's so good when he plays right back as well, because he offers you that dynamism. Now, when it comes to his defensive style, he's somebody that relies on pace rather than aggression. I mentioned earlier, he's not a brute defender where you'll go charging in and literally lift the forward off the ground. He's somebody that will rely on his pace. It's all about being a little bit more measured, stepping out in front of the opponent and trying to intercept the ball rather than relying on brute force, because he doesn't have that physicality. Somebody that stands at 5'10", and he's not really so comfortable in combative situations. It's all about using his pace, his agility, and his ability to get in front of his man, which makes him quite unique, because again, that's very rare for a centre-back. And that is why he's averaging the most interceptions per 90 in the Juventus squad. So the beauty about his quickness, he also provides that recovery pace. However, he's not perfect. This room isn't perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but we are going to be talking about these areas for improvement. A couple of things I always talk about in football: being proactive rather than reactive, and don't get dragged in uncomfortable positions. But if you're against the opposition, do your best to drag them into uncomfortable positions. Now, because he's somebody that relies on pace, he often steps out to try and win the ball back, and he does get bypassed easier, which is, sometimes I've watched him at Milan and I've thought, oh, why did you do that? You've just given away a goal because you're ridiculous positioning. And sometimes that is a headache, but I do think Eddie Howe will calm that a little bit. So sometimes he struggles to reorganize defensive shape during broken play. When there's a loose ball or a second ball to be won, he loses his spatial awareness and he gets caught out and leaves gaps, and the opposition can exploit it. He gets dragged into positions he shouldn't at times. So what I'm trying to say is, sometimes when he's defending, he's reactive rather than being proactive with his positioning. Then I would also say aerially, he stands at 5'10", and he's not very dominant in the air. Against physical strikers or in set piece scenarios, he can be outmuscled or mistimed in aerial contests. Now, when it comes to playing centre-back, right, I've watched this guy quite a lot, and I've watched him under multiple different managers in different scenarios and situations and formations. And I'm going to give my honest take here, and it might not be the right take, but it's just what I find. I personally prefer him when he's playing centre-back in a back three. And I'll tell you why: because that pace, the ability to go into wide areas and defend one-on-one situations, is a massive asset. So when you play in a back three, you've got one centre-back, you've got a right centre-back and a left centre-back. I don't think he can play that centre-back role because he doesn't have that aerial presence, because you're always going to be in the box, defending the box. Now, what he does bring that centre-back ball is in possession, but where I prefer him is in the wide areas. That's because you have wing backs, so then wing backs will go forwards. So it's massively important that your two wide defenders or two centre backs can defend in wide areas. So when they defend in wide areas, they need pace, they need agility. That's exactly what Kalulu brings. Now, in the back four, you're more reliant on your physical strength because you need to go one-on-one, because you need to be strong in one-on-one situations. But when I say one-on-one situations, it's shoulder-to-shoulder strength. And I don't think he's got that physicality to play in the back two. Now, I know he does it, and he does it quite well. But for me personally, I prefer him in the back three or at right back. Now I'm going to show you two statistics on the screen, one at centre back and one at right back. As you can see, when he's compared to other centre backs, look at his ability in possession. Passes attempted, passes completed, progressive passes, progressive carries, touches per 90, shot creating actions. He ranks extremely highly for in possession. Now I mentioned he's not a tough tackler. It's all about reading the game and trying to intercept the pass. That's why his defensive statistics on the eye test look quite low. Now, if you look at him at right back, again, it says exactly what I have been saying. Super comfortable in possession. Now, his defensive statistics are higher when he's playing at right back. That's because he's against right backs. Centre backs make more tackles than what right backs do naturally. But I do believe that versatility would be a huge asset, and his experience would come in handy. But is he perfect? I can't lie to you guys. Well, actually, if I said he was perfect, I'd be sitting here lying. But I want to hear your thoughts. Is Kalulu somebody that you would welcome to St. James's Park? The two things that do put us off is his height and his physicality and his positioning. Maybe three. But I want to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments in the below before we move on to the two left backs. Now, these two left backs are both 17 years old. One Brazilian and one from Georgia. And they're both in the similar mould of a Lewis Hall. But one can actually play centre back and the other one can play occasionally at right back and defensive midfield. But in my personal opinion, they both excel at left back. And the first one we're going to discuss is a Brazilian, and that is Caua Prates. And yes, that is how you pronounce it, because I've just Googled it and listened to Google Translate. So who is he? He plays for Cruzeiro. He's 17 years old. He stands at 6 foot. He's a left back with the capability of playing as a left centre back. So what does he bring? He's a modern day fullback, raw athleticism, direct dribbling, and wide isolation. Now, I've watched this guy a couple of times when he's been playing international tournaments and for Cruzeiro. These are the notes that I have made. Explosive pace, quick off the mark, excellent recovery runs. His acceleration allows him to cover behind centre-backs or track wingers in transition. Now, what I do like, and this is something that is important for Newcastle United, he's got a high motor. His engine is relentless, always up and down the touchline. He presses aggressively. He tracks back with intensity. He's straight suited to a high-pressing vertical system, which is exactly what Newcastle United need. Now, he's also super comfortable with the ball at his feet. He's an excellent ball carrier, confident carrying out from the back. He's got a clean first touch, and he initiates build-up from deep using short combinations. Now, he's a guy that's shown maturity beyond these years, especially when he's defending. Usually when it comes to young defenders or fullbacks, they dive in too easily. Too quickly they go to ground. But this is somebody that is quite measured when he's defending. Is it perfect? No, it's not. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a finished article, because the both players I talk about in this episode are not the finished article. Some players aren't even the finished article at 25. This guy's only 17 years old, so I'm not going to say he's going to come in and really put us on to a different level. But this is somebody that can be an understudy to Lewis Hall, because he's already shown maturity beyond his years. Now, when it comes to final third impact, he's somebody that likes to get forward. He's front-footed style. He's aggressive, even when he's attacking. Now, what I do like about this guy and the next guy, they've both got excellent deliveries. I often speak about putting the ball into the corridor of uncertainty in between the centre-back and the goalkeeper, because anything can happen. It can take a deflection. The goalkeeper can spill it. But I like fullbacks that like to whip in crosses, somebody that'll drive crosses hard and low, and that is exactly what this guy brings. When it comes to his profile, he's got a good body mass and ratio. He's quite stocky, so he's got that robustness in his strengths. He's got good acceleration, sharp change of direction, and I just think all those tools are something that Eddie Howe likes to work with and can develop over time. Now, he's only made 9 senior appearances so far, but I've got no doubt throughout the season there's going to be a lot more. But even in those 9 senior appearances, he doesn't look out of place. even at 17 years old. Now, do you know how some South Americans have got that grit about them? Somebody that'll like just be sharp in the tackles, kind of like Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento. He's got that robustness about him, which I really, really enjoy. So I actually think he will have a good future in Europe, and why not let it be in Newcastle United? Now, there is some weaknesses to his game, but what we're going to do is look at both weaknesses at the end, because unfortunately, these guys don't have statistics. So I kind of back up what I'm saying with statistics. So you've just got to take what I'm saying for what it is. But the next guy is Georgian. This is somebody I've been speaking about for a while, since last year, in fact. Now, this guy has already played 57 games in senior football. He actually debuted at 15 years old, and he's already played for the national team. Now, I've been practicing this name, so hopefully I don't butcher his name, because we all know Georgian names are incredibly difficult to say. And we all know Antonio is terrible with names, and that is Saba Karabashvili. Boy, did I nail that there. Let me just say that one more time. Saba Karabashvili. So again, this is a guy just 17 years old. He stands at 6 foot, and he broke into the first team when he was just 15. He's a left back with the capabilities of playing right back and defensive midfield. The best way I can describe this guy when he's attacking, he's like a dart. He combines athleticism with technical ability. He makes these runs, overlapping runs that are just so aggressive. It's beautiful to watch. He's also known for his aggressive pressing and clean tackling. When it comes to his key traits and his standout abilities, technical ability, confident in tight spaces with a good first touch and the ability to drive forward in possession. When it comes to his profile, he's got a nice build. He's hard working, energetic. He's got a big motor on him. He presses aggressively and he's got an excellent burst of pace. Similar style to Lewis Hall. Now, again, this is somebody that is super comfortable with the ball at his feet. So he's got excellent ball progression skills. He's a confident carrier with a clean first touch, and he often initiates build-up from deep using short combinations, just like the previous guy. Now, I was speaking about players that whip those deliveries in. I love saying whip those deliveries in. And he's another that can do it. Put the ball in the corridor of uncertainty where defenders don't know whether they get it. Goalkeeper doesn't know whether he's going to come out and get it, because in those areas, anything can happen. He's somebody that will be super aggressive, dominate the touchline. But when he gets forward, he doesn't mind putting early deliveries in. I think that's something we lack at times. Now, when it comes to maturity, playing 57 times at just 17 years old or 16 years old because he's just turned 17 is crazy. Like, he's got maturity beyond these years. Is he perfect? No, he's not. Just like the previous guy. Are they the finished article? No, they're not. Just like the previous guy. During the summer, Club Brugge approached me and said, we're looking for a left back, this type of profile. We want this. Somebody that'll replace Max Disciple. And I mentioned this guy. Now, I think they're going to regret not signing him. I think they actually opened up talks, but I think the negotiations fell through because either him or his agent wanted too much money. But I think these are the types of profiles we should be aiming for. We don't want a left back like Dan Burn that doesn't have that dynamism, that ability in possession, but also that little bit of feistiness out of possession. But he's also somebody that can cover at right back occasionally. He's played 5 times in senior football at right back, so he's not a natural right back, but if worse comes to worse, we can definitely play him there. Now, when it comes to weaknesses, they're pretty much the same. I think they both can improve positionally. While they're both aggressive in pressing, they can't get caught out too high or narrow against counter-attack, so they need better timing in the recovery runs and spatial awareness. Both of them, weak foot usage. They're both very left-footed. Even when Saba plays on the right side, he tends to play off his left foot. And then both of them need to improve their strength in duels. And that's just because they're 17 years old, so they're still developing physically. So against elite level wingers, somebody like Jeremy Doku, for example, that's got that strength, but also the speed, they will be nudged off balance in shoulder-to-shoulder situations. Now, when it comes to Prates, sometimes he can rush his decision under aggressive pressing. So he just needs to add a little bit more composure in tight spaces. But that's everything, guys. You've seen the new room. You've seen the new video. What do you make of the new video? I want to hear your answers too. Would you re-sign Sven Botman to another contract? Would you welcome Samu? Would you welcome Kalulu? Or is there any of those 2 left backs that you would sign? Now, personally, I think we should be keeping an eye on West Ham's left back. This is somebody, again, I've been speaking about for a long time. I think if West Ham get relegated, he should be on our list, no doubt. But I want to hear your thoughts. And if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, ciao for now.